Ann Shaw, and I am currently president of the Aberdeen City Council. It is Tuesday, November 10th. Tomorrow is a holiday, so we're meeting one day early. And I thank everyone for joining us tonight. I know it's a little off your schedules, but this is a busy time of year as we're in budget preparations.
Quick point of order.
Yes, sir.
Don't we usually start the recording when the actual council meeting starts, not at the committee of the whole?
Well, you know, that's interesting. Thank you, Councilman Kennedy, for asking. Patricia Soul, our finance director, and I had a conversation earlier, and it was my opinion as presider of the meeting that when we have presentations such as we're going to have tonight from a guest presentation, especially about the budget, that it might be in the interest of transparency and the public's interest to record what she shares with us about the budget. So thank you for asking.
Fantastic. Thank you for the clarification.
So we do not have any guest speakers tonight, and I'm going to go slightly out of order and go straight to our finance director, Patricia Soul, and ask for a presentation on the 2021 property taxes.
Thank you, Council President. Let me share my screen. Okay, so I just wanted to give a brief overview of the property tax levy for 2020 to be implemented in 2021. This is part of our revenues for our budget. And I'm just going to go through a few slides and go through the two items that you have here on the agenda, which is the property tax resolution for substantial need due to our IPD being below 1%. And that is required because we're a city over 10,000. And then also the ordinance that we have also that is coming up to do the levy for 2021. So where did your property taxes go? This is a copy of a slide that I saw had been presented by some of the other people in my role. And I thought it was a really good reminder that property taxes hit a multitude of areas, not just the city. There are different levies for different things, and that makes up the total levy for the city. In 2020, we had a certified levy and it indicated exactly how items were levied, so I could give you a breakdown. The cities 22%, states 22%, and the schools received 33%. The other ones that are down here on the bottom are the county 12%, port 3%, library 3%, and hospital 5%. The total levy for all of the different areas, state, school, city, county, port, library, and hospital, adds up to a 12.94623% levy that is levied on our taxes, on our property. Our 2020 property tax bill is again broken out by the amount. So on a property that's $100,000, the city would receive $288.25 from a regular levy, and then it would be portioned out to these other areas, which makes up the $1,294, or 100% of the levy. In 2020, the city's property taxes were based on an assessed value of $1,083,000,000. The levy was 2.8 for the regular, which equaled a $3,040,000 252 levy. The bonds were the fire bonds. They were based on the assessed value of $1,068,000,000 at 0.0755, which made a total levy for the city of 2.8825 and a total receipt of $3,120,932. Bonds made up 3%. The regular levy made up 97%. If you were a property tax owner, as I indicated, your 2020 taxes paid for the city only would have been $288.25. This chart is one that I really like. It covers a few things. So if you look at it, on the left-hand side, is the levy percent. On the right-hand side is the assessed value of the property. And as you see, there's an inverse relationship. Another graph will demonstrate this better, of a levy being lower based on a higher assessed value. So if you look at Hoquiam and Aberdeen, their assessed value is significantly lower than ours. So they have to levy a higher percent to be able to get what they need to support their needs from property tax. Ocean Shores demonstrates that perfectly. It shows your assessed value way up here, but their actual levy being lower because they need a lower levy due to the assessed value. The next one shows this a lot better. So the red is the levy rates. So that's the line here. The blue is the assessed value. So as you see right now, as our assessed value is going up over the last 2 years, the levy rate's going down to come up with the amount that we actually levy. The bigger the population, the higher the values of the property, it reduces the percent. So the city's property tax burden in 2021, based on these projected levies, would be, as you saw, 2020 was 288.25. In 2021, that would be 278.63 that would be levied on a property of 100,000, or $9 less, because the value of the homes are higher. Just a summary again. 1% regular levy proposed increase. We're doing the first reading tonight. In the levy, there's new construction for 2020 that'll be levied in 2021 of $5,035,000. And the taxpayers' percent or share decreases as the assessed value, new construction, or population increases. So at this point, before the finalization of the levy, that could change it some, but at this point, the levy percent has decreased due to the increased assessed value. If there are any questions, please let me know.
Council members, do you have any questions for Director Soul? Hearing none, we'll move on to comments from our department heads. And in keeping with, we're still learning this Zoom stuff, but if a department head actually has a presentation to make in the interest of any members of the public that might be looking on, if you could activate your video, I know that would be appreciated. But if all you're going to tell us is that we'll hear from you later in the meeting, that's fine too. But if you actually have a presentation, we would love to engage with you. So we'll start with our Community Development Director, Lisa Scott. Do you have anything for us tonight?
Thank you, Council President Shaw, City Council, and Mayor. I'm gonna see you're gonna look at me. Sorry, I'm forcing you. You should have all received a copy last week of year-to-date revenues through October for the Community Development Department. We overall are tracking revenues above 2020 budget numbers. So that we're tracking really good to finish the end of the year above budget. And if you have any questions regarding that, any of that information, please feel free to contact me should you have any questions. Since last City Council meeting, we've been very busy processing permits, meeting with customers, and attending required trainings and gearing up for budget discussions. So we're getting ready for that 2021 discussion and actually ready to leave 2020 behind. We've had a couple meetings and ad hoc committees meetings the last couple weeks, and I'll leave that to the council to discuss. But if anybody, again, has any questions for community development, you feel free to reach out for me. Thank you.
Well, Director Scott, you are what she mentioned about ad hoc committee meetings. There was a meeting of the Ad Hoc Gateway Committee, and you are welcome to share with the council any thoughts that you might have about that. Otherwise, we can wait till other council members report. But if you have anything you want to share, please feel free.
Just that I think we had a great meeting. There was a glitch with the Zoom meeting. It was my first one, so I apologize. And I use that as my stepping stool to learn more. But we're going to be having another ad hoc committee next Monday night, and hopefully we'll get all those glitches worked out and everybody will be able to attend. But I thought the meeting went very well. It was a good first conversation. Just to get everybody up to speed on where we've come from, where we're at, and what we're expecting before the end of the year. So I look forward to see if council has anything to add to that, but I'm excited that we're finally moving forward with this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next director is Corporation Counsel Patrice Kent and/or Judge Solon.
Hi, this is Patrice Kent. I don't have anything to report. There is a topic on the Public Works Committee that I brought forward with LeMay. And I know that Judge Solon has some HR adjustments that will come under special agenda items, and she's planning on attending a little later today. I don't think she's on quite yet.
Thank you. Next is, we already heard from our finance director, but was there anything else you wanted to add that's not budget related, Director Soul?
Nope, my life is budget right now. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Fire Chief Tom Hubbard.
Good evening. I have nothing to present, so I will stay behind the dark curtain. Public Safety met tonight at 6:30. We had a successful Zoom webinar launch, and we're able to share documents, and I will defer the report to Councilperson Tawny Andrews.
Thank you, Chief. Parks Director Stacy Barnum.
Hi, this is Parks Director Stacy Barnum. Thank you, Council President Shaw. The Parks Department is finally getting some activities going, so I'll go over what we have planned for this fall and winter. We have the Turkey Trot, which is going on right now. You can visit our Facebook page or the City of Aberdeen website and download your Turkey Trot log. You log the miles that you walk or run, and the more mileage you cover, the more chances you have to win. We will select 6 winners of a $75 gift certificate for Swanson's Grocery Store. And we've partnered with Swanson's Grocery on this Turkey Trot program, so we appreciate their support. We also have partnered with the Aberdeen Beautification Committee and their Winterfest program. The city purchased 50 gingerbread house kits that will be handed out to kids in our community. You can pick up those kits at the Southside Swanson's Grocery Store beginning November 17th. There will also be kits handed out and available on November 17th beginning at 9 a.m. at Tinderbox Coffee Roasters in downtown Aberdeen. You can get more information on where to pick up your gingerbread kits. And also, if you're interested in entering Winterfest Gingerbread House Contest, at their website, which is winterfestaberdeen.com. winterfestaberdeen.com to get information on the gingerbread house kits and also on all of the Winterfest activities that are planned for right after Thanksgiving. This Saturday, I will be working with the Bloom team. We'll be making the winter hanging baskets that will be hung around downtown Aberdeen. And then next week, we'll be out in downtown Aberdeen putting out all of the winter greens and the red bows to get Aberdeen ready for the holiday season. And I really appreciate all the volunteer work that Betty Worth and Bobby McCracken and the Bloom team put in to help keep Aberdeen looking good. And that's all that I have for tonight. Thank you.
Do any council members have any questions for Director Barnum? Well, thank you, Director Barnum, for continuing to work with all the volunteers in our community. In the past, you've often shared information on how council members can take part in these Saturday downtown beautification events. Do we have new rules in the era of COVID, or are council members still invited to participate if they want?
Council members are definitely invited to participate if they want. I think that the Bloom team has enough people for this Saturday for the baskets, and we're doing it at the Pioneer Park shop, and I'm having the crew pull out some of the trucks so that we can spread out in the different bays. But on Tuesday, so let's see, today's the 10th. So on Tuesday, the 17th is when we will be in downtown doing the decorating downtown. And that's when we could really use some help. So if council members are interested in volunteering, just email me at work and I can give you all the details.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And not to put you on the spot, but one final question. A while back, you were preparing a report for us on the balance sheet for the insurance proceeds. I was wondering if we had an ETA on that.
I am working with Dawn McMaster, the Assistant Finance Director, and Patricia Soul, the Finance Director, to get you that final report. I will follow up with them and I'll find out a timeline on that. I know that they've been trying to focus their energy on the budget, but I think that they're really close. So my goal will be to have a final presentation for you at the council meeting right before Thanksgiving. So thank you for the reminder.
Yeah, no pressure, just trying to make sure we keep it on our radar.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So our next department head is Police Chief Steve Shoemake. Do you have anything for us tonight?
Thank you, Council President Shaw. And I won't dive into the specifics of our committee report because Council Woman Tawny Andrews will cover that, but I will just reiterate again what Chief Hubbard made mention. And we were keeping our fingers crossed that our Zoom meeting was going to be successful, and it was. And so I got to give a shout out to, of course, Wayne Schmid for helping us with that cause, as well as Patricia Soul for helping us get all set up. So, and yes, both of us were able to share documents. And so I will be certainly ready for my budget presentation a week from tonight, and then the next Public Safety Committee meetings, we will make sure that the public will have access to the link so they can at least go and view the Public Safety Committee meeting. So we're excited for that as well.
Thank you. You know, it does bear noting that actually tonight was pretty seamless getting online for Zoom, and please share our thanks to Wayne Schmidt and everybody in the finance department that has made this pretty painless for most of us. I know a couple people, got some personal visits from Wayne, but actually this is our second time, I think, and it's going very well. So yes.
I would agree. I will pass that on. Thank you.
Next is Public Works Director Rick Sanger.
Yeah, Public Works Director Rick Sanger here, and we met today at 4 o'clock. I don't have anything additional to add other than we do anticipate some high winds and some king tides this Friday around noon. So be on the lookout for some localized flooding, and we'll have our signs ready to go. But anyway, other than that, we'll leave it all for Nathan Kennedy, our chair.
Thank you. That concludes our department heads. Next on our agenda is the mayor's report. Mayor Shave, do you have anything for us tonight?
Hi, thank you. It's been an interesting week for budget reports. I've been meeting with staff and we've been going over their proposed budgets. Amongst all the other stuff that's been going on in the Zoom meetings, we get through this COVID. I'm not sure I ever want to hear that word Zoom again, but lots of stuff, lots of meetings. RV park meeting. I don't know if anybody mentioned that. That was really interesting. The RV park committee met and we talked about the potential of an RV park out on the Bishop field. I'm sure we've all heard about it in the past, but the idea is progressing and it looks really good, penciling out real nicely. So, and let's see, we're trying to work out a legislative plan. We also had a meeting this week on what we need to be doing and how we're going to do it, talking with the legislators and what kind of strategies, that sort of thing, for projects coming up in 2021. Of course, I was mentioned earlier, the Gateway Ad Hoc Committee meeting. Today I had Transit Board meeting. And I also want to mention, if it's okay, if you can see on behind me the doors, the Aberdeen High School art class students painted those, and they're raising funds for all the proceeds go to Aberdeen High School scholarship for grads. And and these were up for bid online through the Harbor Art Guild, and they're displayed over in the old Goldberg building next to the Aberdeen Theater. Wonderful program. These kids did a magnificent job painting all these things, but there's some that didn't sell yet, and so they're still open for bid. And I believe that through the Harbor Art Guild, you can find that if you're interested. And that's, I think, about it.
Thank you, Mayor. As you work on any proposals or projects to take to the legislature, I'm sure the council will be interested in what we're asking for. So please keep us in the loop.
Thank you.
Next, we have on our agenda non-standing committee reports. And this is a time where we call on each of our council members to share what they might have been doing to represent our city and our interests since our last meeting. And we'll start with Council Member Tawny Andrews.
Well, let's see. Last week I attended the museum board. So that's moving along nicely. I understand they're joining us for the ad hoc committee. Unfortunately, I missed last night, but I'll be at next Monday. I was out of town last night and it just didn't work out. But that's all I've got so far.
Thank you. Councilmember Liz Ellis.
Thank you. This is Liz, and I was at the ad hoc Gateway meeting Monday, and that was very interesting. Attended the Public Works Committee meeting today, as well as fly on the wall in the Finance meeting, and provided some edits to the the draft ordinance on property sales, and working on a resolution as part of the Public Works Committee, and looking into other ways to learn more about city governance and how I can be involved. Thank you.
Thank you. Council Member Joshua Francie.
Thank you. I have nothing to report today.
Thank you. Council Member Frank Gordon.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. That's a good deal. I had a couple of meetings last week with flood authority, and then also our Chehalis Basin flood. And there's some interesting stuff going on. The people are working very hard. Our engineer for the city of Aberdeen has been working hard, and we're working on getting funding for our dikes down here that we need quite badly, and then for our pump station over there on the Aberdeen Cosmopolis border there. One of the things I'd like to see us do as a group, as soon as this election gets over and we know who our people are, federal, and our people are, you know, in our state government here, so we can send some letters. I'd like to see the city as a group. Maybe our attorney could write a letter stating that we, the city of Aberdeen, really need your help, because when you squeak and you squeak loud, the squeaky wheel gets greased, and I think we definitely need that. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Councilmember Gordon. As a fellow resident of the West End, I also have come to appreciate the work of our city engineering and public works staff. And what you said about approaching our lawmakers is what I had in mind when I asked the mayor to keep us in the loop, because there is certainly more that the council can do, hopefully, to send the word up the flagpole on what our priorities are and where we want their help. So next is Councilmember Dave Haviland. I don't see Dave on the call. So unless he chimes in, I'm going to move on to Councilmember Katie Cashman.
Good evening. I also attended the ad hoc committee for Gateway. That was yesterday evening, and it was really helpful to have some people on the line that were there from the inception, including the architect that had helped on it, as well as Betty Worth and Bobby McCracken, who were really instrumental in gaining initial buy-in and feedback from the community as well. So I think as we move forward with meetings, we will be able to come up with a good recommendation to the council of where to go next. And that's all I had.
Thank you. Councilmember Kennedy.
Thank you very much. I actually have nothing to report tonight.
Councilmember Mackey.
Evening. I have nothing to.
Thank you. Councilmember Richrod. I don't see Councilmember Richrod on the call either. So unless he chimes in from the Ethernet, I'm going to move on to Councilmember Ross.
Thank you. Other than the ad hoc committee meeting for Gateway last night, there hasn't been anything since our last council meeting, but I also am very excited about moving forward with that project, and I'm excited to see where we can come or where we can go. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Margot Short.
I have nothing to report tonight. Thank you.
And so last is Councilmember Shaw. So just by way of information for the rest of the council, you've probably heard several people mention they were at the ad hoc committee for the Gateway. And I would just share with you that by the time I fielded requests from everybody who volunteered and sent me an email that they wanted to be on the committee, we were up to 6. And so if you weren't invited to be on the committee, it's because your fellow council members beat you to the punch. I just didn't want anyone to think that they were left off the committee, because by the time it was, you know, I had 6 requests and nothing flat, and we have to keep it under a quorum. So we'll keep you informed best we can. We're going to have another meeting next Monday. It was a very good get to know each other meeting this past Monday. And I think that we're very hopeful that we're going to be able to come forward with a firm recommendation on next steps, including, you know, I don't know what it'll look like, but it just felt like a very good meeting, like their other council members reported. So with that, unless any council members have thought of something since their turn, we don't have anything left on the agenda. And I will call this meeting adjourned and turn it over to the mayor.
Thank you. Let's see here, where are we at? This is Mayor Shave. It is Tuesday, November 10th, 2020 at 7:45 p.m. and I call the council meeting to order. A public comment period is now included during the Zoom video meetings. The public was notified that if they wish to speak during the meeting, an email be sent to Patricia Soul, City Clerk, and indicate if they would like to speak or have the clerk read the comment. If they desire to comment live, they will be called on during the meeting and allowed to speak for 3 minutes. Written comments will be provided before the meeting that were provided before the meeting have been provided to city council members and will be read into the record up to the current 3-minute limit. City Clerk Soul, will you please take a roll call?
Councilmember Andrews,
Here.
Councilmember Ellis,
Yes.
Councilmember Francie,
Here.
Councilmember Gordon,
Here.
Councilmember Haviland, someone's in the attendee. I'm assuming maybe that is Councilmember Haviland. Let me look. Yeah, there he is. Okay. Can you hear me now, Councilmember Haviland? You can unmute.
Yes, thank you. I've been trying to connect for a while with 2 different devices. Thank you. I was in the earlier meeting, couldn't speak.
Oh, sorry.
My
Okay.
apologies. Thank you.
Yep. Councilmember Koshman,
Here.
Councilmember Kennedy,
Present.
Councilmember Mackey,
I'm here.
Councilmember Richrod, Councilmember Ross,
Here.
Councilmember Shaw,
Here.
Councilmember Short,
Here.
Councilmember or Mayor Shave,
Oops, here.
1 absent, the rest present.
Thank you. Council President Shaw, would you like to move to excuse the absent council member?
Mayor Shave, in keeping with our protocol as president, I did not hear from the absent council member. So I'll be happy to excuse him at a later date, or another council member can make a motion. But as president, I was not contacted that he'd be absent.
Okay.
Hearing none, at this time, I would move for approval of the minutes of the previous meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion
Sure.
made, seconded to approve the minutes of the previous meetings. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Are there any additions or deletions? I have one addition to the agenda. It's a proclamation of emergency that I am adding to the proclamation portion towards the end of the agenda. Are there any others? Okay, seeing none.
Mayor Shave, I would move to add that to the agenda for you.
Second.
Second.
Motion was made and second to add that proclamation to the agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay, public comments submitted to City Clerk on all topics. City Clerk Soul, will you please note for the record any public comments that have been submitted?
Mayor Shave, there has been 1 public comment submitted, and she is not in the attendees that I can tell, so I will read it into the record. Let me pull it up here real quick. Yeah, if I can find it. Okay. Okay. The comment reads, to the Honorable Mayor Shave and distinguished members of City Council. My name is Casey Morrison and I reside in Ward 1. This letter is in regard to the proposed wellness clinic that was discussed at the last council meeting. The toll on our community from the drug epidemic is handling are plain to see. Medically assisted treatment facilities, when implemented correctly, no doubt have given life back to untold number of people who are long suffering with little hope of recovery. However, too often these programs have been taken advantage of. With little oversight and accountability, clients have been able to secure methadone and subadone, often at taxpayer expense, and have turned this into self-profit or use these medications in trade for other drugs on the street. Locally, there is an anecdotal evidence of this. Many local clinics have ever-expanding clientele because they utilize telehealth to outsource care to other regional providers that can write the necessary prescriptions. Trust systems are in place where longer-term prescriptions can be given, allowing the patient longer periods between in-person visits. Daily wellness checks would seem to be more conducive to proper care and would better mitigate the risk of relapse or abuse of the system. Will this program require participants' ownership in their recovery? Will it require that they participate in good faith to restore their lives and not abuse the program? Will it be an asset to the community and not more of what we already have in place? I am also concerned that this clinic will be a beacon to people from outside the area that wish to take advantage of this program and utilize other services locally at taxpayer expense. What assurances can be made that the clinic will not bring in clients from across the region and burden our already struggling local economy? I would like to point out that there are an ever-growing amount of these clinics already in operation in Aberdeen. One can't help but feel this is turning into an industry of sorts, one that is not helping Aberdeen prosper in any way. How many of these clinics are truly necessary? Can this clinic do better what the current ones are clearly failing at doing? It is my hope that the city of Aberdeen and the Quinault Nation will keep the community appraised of any involved in the process, and that transparency and accountability in all aspects of the operation of this clinic will be at the forefront. I look forward to hearing of future developments and hope that the city takes a hard look at what can be done better in our community to improve the lives of the tax-paying citizens and those struggling with addiction. Thank you for your time. And that was the one public comment that was received.
Thank you. Now move to the Finance Committee. Vice Chair Katzman, were you going to report? I see Debbie's here.
Yes, Mayor. I'll report tonight. Finance met today via Zoom at 6 p.m. We had a really good discussion about the handful of agenda items that we have on tonight. We also spoke to Finance regarding some tools that they're looking to utilize and potentially recommend for 2021 that can really help streamline information sharing with our community regarding the city's finances. Think of it like infographics and charts that are readily available. So we anticipate bringing a report forward in the future regarding that tool. I'll go ahead and move on to our agenda items. The first one being that I recommend that we approve expenditures and payroll.
This is Ross, I second.
Motion is made and seconded to pay the payroll and expenditures. Is there any discussion?
Mayor Shave, the motion is to approve accounts payable in the total amount of $1,444,279.18 and payroll in the total amount of $774,531.80. Check numbers 24977 through 24991 and 70864 through 71038, and wires 1218, 1220, 1222, and 1223.
Okay, thank you. Is there any discussion from the council? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Andrews?
Yes.
Councilmember Ellis?
Yes.
Councilmember Francie?
Yes.
Councilmember Gordon,
Yes.
Councilmember Haviland,
Yes.
Councilmember Cashman,
Yes.
Councilmember Kennedy,
Yes.
Councilmember Mackey,
Yes.
Councilmember Richrod, Councilmember Ross,
Yes.
Councilmember Shaw,
Yes.
Councilmember Short,
Yes.
all approved that were present.
Thank you.
Next.
Vice Chair Katzman, you have the floor.
Thank you. Next, we have a resolution making a declaration of substantial need for the purposes of setting the limit factor for the property tax levy in 2020 for collection in 2021. I move we adopt this resolution.
Ross, I second.
Motion is made and seconded to adopt this resolution. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion is adopted.
Mr. Mayor, for the record, that is resolution 2020-23.
Thank you.
Moving on to ordinances, we have the first reading of bill number 20-06, an ordinance providing for the levy in 2020 upon all taxable property within the city of Aberdeen for 2021 for all municipal purposes authorized by law and fixing the amount thereof pursuant to RCW 84.55.120. I move we accept the first reading.
This is Ross, I second.
Motion was made and seconded to approve the first reading of this ordinance. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed? The motion carries.
All right. Next, we have the second reading and public hearing of bill number 20-05, an ordinance relating to the disposition of surplus real property, adding a new chapter 3.110, disposition of surplus real property. I move we accept the second reading.
This is Ross, I
Open the public
second.
hearing.
This is a reading and public. Oh, I'm sorry. I move we open the public hearing.
This is Ross, I
Thank you,
second.
Mayor.
Motion is made and seconded to open the public hearing. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The public hearing is now open.
Is there anyone that's come forth for the public hearing?
No.
Okay.
Okay, since there's nobody that has chosen to provide testimony tonight, I would move that we close the public hearing.
I would second that, Ross.
Motion is made and seconded to close the public hearing. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The public hearing is closed.
So finally, we would have the second reading of this bill, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so the second reading for bill number 2020, I'm sorry, bill number 20-05, I move that we accept the second reading.
And I second that.
Motion is made and seconded to accept the second reading of Bill 20-05. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, under discussion in Finance Committee this evening, we talked about a handful of minor, I would call them wording changes throughout the ordinance in a few areas. And I think rather than going through them all on the phone and confusing everybody, that we would bring them up during the third reading so you have the opportunity to see them on paper in advance.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposed? Motion carries.
And that's all from the Finance Committee.
Thank you, Finance Vice Chair Katzman. Public Works Chair Kennedy. Do you have a report?
Thank you, Mary Shave. This is Nathan Kennedy. And yes, Public Works Committee met today at 4 o'clock via Zoom, our first Zoom meeting. So it went very well. And we discussed our agenda items as well as some of the processes for bringing forth things like resolutions and also the emergency proclamation that will be on the agenda under special agenda items. We got to actually see pictures of that building and the damage that is really making it difficult for workers to work in there. So that'll be something that we really need to get fixed right away. So looking forward to bringing that up. And that's really all I have for my report today. So moving on to reports and communications, I move that we adopt a report from Public Works and Corporation Council recommending that the City Council approve the proposed LeMay garbage and recycling annual increases beginning January 1st, 2021.
Haviland, second.
Motion's made and seconded to adopt this report. Is there any discussion?
Under discussion, really quick, we did talk about this, you know, in committee, especially with a lot of the hardships going on with COVID. You know, some of the increases are going to be kind of nominal, but one thing that we did potentially discuss was sending a request off to the COVID-19 response ad hoc committee for next year to see if we can do more with any funding we might get.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries.
Okay. I move to adopt the report from Public Works and the Public Works Director recommending that the mayor be authorized to execute an updated non-discrimination agreement and letter of standard assurance to be provided to Washington State Department of Transportation.
Ramsey, second.
Motion was made and seconded to adopt this report. Any discussion?
Under discussion, this is a pretty standard annual agreement that we have to do in order to qualify for grant funding. So it's just making sure that we have all the stuff in our policies and procedures to do what we need to do.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of adopting this report, say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries.
I move to adopt the report from Public Works and the Public Works Director recommending that the City Council declare equipment number 129, 1989 Federal Aero Board as surplus and authorize Public Works to sell at auction.
Ramsey, second.
Motion was made and seconded to adopt this report. Any discussion?
Once again, under discussion. So this arrow board is just what it seems to be, is a board that displays an arrow to help direct traffic. It's being replaced by two signs that we're getting that are being paid for by FEMA grant funds. So it's really no longer needed. And the two new boards are going to allow us to do way more than just point an arrow in a direction. So hopefully we can recoup a couple of funds and somebody else can, you know, have a nice board that displays an arrow.
Is it too big to put in my man cave?
Hey, you know, you got to talk to Rick Sanger about that. I'm sure the dimensions will be on the auction.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion?
How much are those things valued at approximately?
I would pass that to Mr. Sanger because I honestly have no idea.
We don't anticipate getting much money for it. It's in pretty rough shape and it's 30+ years old. So I guess we'd probably be happy with $1,500, but we'll sell it on Gov Deals. And so Mayor Shabe, you can absolutely buy it if you want it. You just got to go on Gov Deals and find it.
If it's too big, it'd just glare off my head if I plugged it in my little man cave.
Oh, it's big. It's a trailer mounted, so
It'd be too bright. Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Hi.
Aye.
There any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries.
I move to adopt the report from Public Works and the Public Works Director recommending that the mayor shall be authorized to obligate funding for administrative expenses to fulfill grant requirements.
Haviland, second.
Motion was made and seconded to adopt this report. Is there any discussion?
Yes, under discussion. So this is coming back to us from another item that came up. There was a little discussion about some of the wording and making sure that we had some amounts that were in there just to make sure that everything was really transparent. And I'd really like to thank the Public Works staff and Rick Sanger for really making sure that we knew what was going into this and that there were amounts. And if anything needs to go over that amount, it's going to come back to council anyhow, and we'll be notified. So everybody really did a lot of work on this. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Motion carries.
And there is nothing further from Public Works.
Thank you. Public Safety Chair Tawny Andrews, do you have a report?
I do. I'm even going to try to share my screen. Let's see.
Ooh.
All right. So first, let's start with the police department. Let's see if I can do it. Hold on. Here we go, please. Oh, here we go. All right, so there is an item on the agenda for police tonight, and that is surplusing the parking enforcement vehicle. And it's pretty rough. They're gonna surplus it. You really don't want it. Anyway, there's two promotions. Detective Dave Cox and Officer Gary Sexton will be sworn in as patrol sergeants. Sergeant Cox is a Hoquiam High School alum who started his career with the Raymond Police Department before transferring to Hoquiam PD in 1995. Then he transferred to Aberdeen PD in December of 2005. He has served many years as detective as well as the field training officer, and he will be assigned to the blue team. Sergeant Gary Sexton is with the Aberdeen. He was an Aberdeen High School alum. He first involved with the Aberdeen Police Department when he was a police explorer for 4 years. He attended Grace Harbor College as well as WSU. We won't hold that against him. Before coming back to Aberdeen, he was hired by APD in June of 2001. He continued his involvement with the Police Explorers as an advisor for 16 years, and he will be assigned to the Gold Team. So if you guys see them, congratulate them on that. So last week, the police department had issues with a leaking hot water pipe underneath the municipal courtroom. The offices of the courts have been experiencing humid conditions for quite some time. They had their own personal spa going on, but the leak was bad enough, it started going up, affecting the walls. So the water had to be shut off. On Friday, they located the problem. They had to shut off the water again. So the court and the APD staff, they were sent home to work remotely. They closed the lobby and they replaced the pipe. So apparently a strap for the pipe, and there was a hole. Here, we got a picture. Ooh, see, there's the pipe. See, this is a 2-inch pipe. So there's the little hole. I don't know if you can see it, the little hole right there. That was pretty bad. And all this debris was underneath that. So it was just causing a whole headache. But let's see. All right, hold on, let's see. Let's see if I can share my other, okay. So that was all. Oh, so the only other thing with the police department was Shop with a Cop. They're taking donations through December 4th. So moving on to fire. Let's see. Ooh, I think hopefully you guys can see that. In partnership with the Twin Star Credit Union and the Hoquiam Fire Department, there's 2 fire videos that they are sending out to the Aberdeen and Hoquiam Police Department. They are really cute. So I've noticed that I think Hoquiam shared them. I'm not sure if Aberdeen Police has shared them yet, but they're going to get them up on the website. I'll probably share them out later today, but they're really informative. They're great for kids. So they'll be really great. We'll get those out. I won't bother to play with it. So then COVID testing, National Guard, those tests have ended that program. So we wanted to update everybody on what's out there, or the chief did. So we put together a great list. So at Community Hospital, it's only, mine is wrong. The one on the screen is wrong. It's only Monday and Wednesday. It's not Friday. So you have to call, you have to get pre-screened, and then they want you to come up. Summit Pacific, they're doing urgent care. They want you to call ahead of time. Health Mart is doing them in Elma and McCleary. They want you to go to do I need a COVID-19test.com to register, schedule appointments. And over in Olympia, Hawks Prairie Clinic at Providence, they're doing them as well, Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4:30. Now, what the chief likes is that if you call the Grays Harbor County Health Department at 360-964-1850, you can get pre-screened and instructions to go pick up an at-home kit. If you pick up that kit and you get it into a mailbox by 2 or so, it goes overnight to their processing center. And I can't remember where Chief told me it was, but it goes overnight and you get your results within like 24 to 48 hours. But it's just, you do your own swabbing. So, I mean, that's kind of cool. And so one other thing that the fire chief wanted me to mention was that the cold weather shelter is now open at the senior center, 208 West Market, from 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. Every day, 7 days a week. So that's the county, CAP, and Chaplains on the Harbor all working together in that cold weather shelter. And then in good news, this is very exciting, the mayor, yay, but they put out the request for bid. Here, I've got it up here. Hold on. Let me see if I can switch. Request to get going on getting, let's see, I want to share this one. Let's see. Ooh, there we go. The request for qualifications for the criminal justice facility. So they're asking people to put this in for okay, so this one is, the one on the screen right now is for the police department, jail, and court. And there's an exact replica of this also for the fire department buildings. So they're putting these out so we can start getting people to start putting those statements of qualifications from qualified firms to do a space needs assessment for both the police and fire. Because we both know that both of those buildings we need very much so. All right, hold on, stop share.
That's
Okay.
2 fire stations.
Yes, both fire stations, because we do need both. Hey guys, if you have not, it's all the new council members, if you haven't toured these buildings, I encourage you to go tour them. Both fire stations and the police department. If you get a hold of the chiefs, they'll schedule that for you, and you will see how in dire need we are of those. Let me tell you. All right, let me go to the one item on the agenda. We have a report from Public Safety and the police chief recommending that the Aberdeen Police Department be allowed to surplus vehicle number 382, a 2006 GMC Envoy, to be sold through public auction or to another law enforcement agency for fair market value. I move we accept this report.
Francie, second.
Motion is made and seconded to adopt this report. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. The report is adopted.
All right, and that is it from public safety.
Thank you, Public Safety Chair Andrews. We'll move on now to special agenda items. Council President Shaw.
Thank you, Mayor Shave. We do have some special agenda items tonight. We have a report from personnel and the Aberdeen Municipal Court Judge recommending that the City Council adopt the reclassification of the Assistant Court Administrator to a range 16 effective January 1st, 2021. I move we adopt this report.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded to adopt this report. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, the report is adopted. Thank you.
Thank you. Our second special agenda item is a report from personnel and the Aberdeen Municipal Court Judge recommending that the City Council update the position description and adopt the reclassification of the court clerk to a range 15 effective January 1st, 2021. I move we adopt this report.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded to adopt this report. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Are there any opposed? The motion carries. The report is adopted.
Thank you. We have a third special agenda item tonight from personnel, and that is a report from Personnel and Human Resources recommending that the Aberdeen City Council approve the Memorandum of Understanding with the Aberdeen Police Administrators Union effective September 25th, 2020. I move we adopt this report.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded to adopt this report. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. The report is adopted. Thank you, Council President Shaw.
And Mayor Shave, I'm not sure we have the other addition to the agenda, the emergency proclamation from Public Works. I actually, let me see if I have that. It's not what the wording would be. I don't have it on my script. Let me see if I saved it. We have, I'll just try and wing it. Somebody chime in if I get it wrong, but we have an emergency proclamation, or is this something you're bringing forward, Mayor?
I could read it if you would like. I have it right here.
I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. Under proclamations, I have a proclamation of emergency. Whereas the Public Works Director has reported that the following situation will likely result in material loss or damage of property, bodily injury, or loss of life if immediate action is not taken. The solids handling building located at the City of Aberdeen wastewater treatment plant is currently in an unsafe condition with a collapsed section of roof. In the attempt to protect employee safety as well as avoid additional damage to the enclosed equipment, immediate action must be taken. The dangerous conditions have increased precipitously within the past 5 days, and the city engineer has determined that any further delays are likely to result in damage to property, bodily injury, up to and including loss of life, depending on the nature of the collapse. Whereas this constitutes an emergency as defined by the City of Aberdeen Emergency Management Plan and necessitates the utilization of emergency powers granted to the mayor pursuant to Chapter 2.86 of the Aberdeen Municipal Code and Chapter 38.52 RCW. Now therefore, be it proclaimed by the mayor of the City of Aberdeen that an emergency exists in the city of Aberdeen, and city departments are authorized to do the following. Number one, enter into contracts that incur obligations necessary to combat such an emergency situation to protect the health and safety of persons and property. Number two, provide appropriate emergency assistance to the victims of such a disaster. And number three, take other emergency actions to protect life and property as appropriate. Each City of Aberdeen department is authorized to exercise the powers vested under this proclamation in the light of the exigencies of an extreme emergency situation, without regard to time-consuming procedures and formalities prescribed by law, except mandatory constitutional requirements. This proclamation shall be confirmed by the City Council at the earliest practicable time. So at this point, I would entertain a motion to approve this proclamation.
Mayor Shave, this is Shaw. I would move to confirm the proclamation.
Second.
Kennedy, second.
Motion is made and seconded to confirm this proclamation. Is there any discussion?
Do we
Councilmember
have any
Kennedy?
pictures?
The question is, do we have any pictures?
This is Councilmember Kennedy. Rick Stengder actually did share a couple of pictures with us during the Public Works Committee meeting. I will give him some time to bring those up while I just discuss this a little bit further. When we did see those, the damage is in the working area of this particular machine. So it's pretty dire that we get this fixed as soon as possible, because somebody could get hurt if this goes any further, and it could also really impact the ability to process the solid wastes through our sewage facility, and could affect our community as a whole quite a bit. So Rick, do you by any chance have those pictures up again that you might be able to show?
Yes, I just pulled it out of my email, and I'll share my screen so everybody can see. So you can see the 2x6 tongue and groove has broken apart there. I hope everybody can see my screen now.
Yeah.
And that is right above the screw press, which removes the water from the biosolids. So we have employees on this stand every day, and it doesn't look like it's coming down, but we never anticipated that it would collapse like that either. So the important part is to get in there and do an assessment and find out how bad it is. We knew that the roof was it was time to be repaired, but there was no sign of any structural issues, but now there is. So
Rick, you had also mentioned during the meeting that this area of the building sees a lot of condensation, and that may have been the cause of the damage in some of the repairs.
Right.
I assume to address that as well.
Yeah, the roof's probably 50 years old. The building is what happens is we squeeze the moisture out of the biosolids, and it creates heat, and which also creates steam and condensation, and gathers on the ceiling. It's always dripping on you. It's kind of nasty, kind of thinking about where that water comes from. But anyway, so what the roof doesn't leak. So what's happened is the moisture has accumulated on the ceiling, and it's caused some dry rot is what it appears. It's about 30 feet in the air from the base, so it's hard to inspect other than when you're way up on the rack where the screw press is. But yeah, so we're hopeful that it's not the whole roof, but until we get in and do the analysis and have somebody come in and check it, we won't know.
Okay, thank you, Rick. Any further discussion?
Mayor Shave?
Yes.
The one thing that I noticed in the emergency proclamation that I would like to add, or we can just request it. I would like to add a statement that the emergency obligations and contracts that the department enters into will be reported back to the council so that we have an idea of the financial commitment that was made during this emergency.
I'll second that.
Okay, is that an amendment to the proclamation?
Respectfully,
I'm open to however is the best procedure, because we don't have very many of these. And so I guess I don't know what I'm asking, other than I just wanted to say we should get a report back.
Is it easier to amend the proclamation or to
Patrice?
just amend the adoption?
thank you. I believe that the proclamation, the purpose of this is a confirmation of the proclamation, and so it would not be an amendment to the proclamation itself, although it would be a request for that. And I have certainly noted that, and in future proclamations, that will be included in the template language, which it isn't currently.
Okay, so we're gonna, rather than an amendment, if you want to make that on the record official as a council report, we can vote for that separately.
Mayor Shave, I'm comfortable that under discussion that there will be follow-up. I appreciate that.
Okay. So is there any other discussion on the proclamation of emergency? Seeing none. Do I need a roll call vote, Patrice?
No, you do not for a proclamation. It's just a simple majority that's required.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All in favor of the proclamation of emergency, say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. Proclamation of emergency is declared. Okay, moving on to city council. Oh, I have an appointment. I almost missed it. Jackie Elsos has served on the lodging tax committee for, I'm not sure how long, for quite a while. And she is the manager of the Best Western. And she's willing to stay on the committee, and that position is up. So I would like to have the council's confirmation to appoint her to the Lodging Tax Committee for another term.
I so move.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to appoint Jackie Elsos to the Lodging Tax Committee. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Now I'll move on to city council comment period. Is there anybody on the city council has comments? Tony Andrews.
Well, I was responding, Liz made a mention earlier when she spoke about wanting to get more information about being an elected official. So I'd like to encourage all of the new council members to go to Association of Washington City site. They usually have a little workshop for new elected officials in the fall. I doubt it happened because of COVID, this year. But they have a ton of information, and you can build up credits and get a certificate of municipal leadership. I got mine at one point. I know Mayor Shave has his. There's even an advanced one, which I'm like that close to getting, and I just need to go fill out paperwork. But anyway, but you could earn up points, but there's a ton of information on that site, as well as the MRSC site. That has a lot of more of the legal type questions, but that's a great resource as well. They've gathered a lot of information, like when we were doing the ordinances regarding the camping ordinances and such like that. I did a lot of research there because they have them like all pulled together. Like if you put in your subject, sometimes they have multiple articles. So I just wanted to give you guys that resource.
Anybody else? Nathan?
Sorry, Liz, I kind of beat you.
I seen his hand first.
I just like to build on what Tawny was saying, especially in regards to AWC, because anybody that's potentially thinking about running for office, AWC is awesome as a resource to really let you know what you're getting into and what's going to be expected of you in your office. So anybody in our community that is wanting to know more about what we're supposed to be doing, or wants to get more involved in our government, it's a great resource, and they're an amazing organization. And on top of that, that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Liz?
Thank you. There's a lot of concern at certainly the state level about COVID rates going up with flu season coming on and the cold weather and people spending more time indoors. As of November 9th, there were 817 recorded cases of COVID in the county and 15 deaths. I just want to urge my fellow council members and city staff and the residents of Aberdeen to really take this seriously and wear your mask when you go out, when you're interacting with the public, when you're in close proximity to others. Wash hands, do all those things that's going to help protect your family and see us all through this this rough weather time. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mayor Shave?
Yes.
So real quick, I would just tag team on Councilmember Ellis's comment and just note that from March until August, it took us from March until August to hit 100 cases in our county. And I think we've all kind of relaxed. That was pretty strenuous and stressful. And just in the last month alone, we've had more than 200. So I think this is a good reminder that we need to kind of go back to the practices we were employing last spring if we want to kind of keep our county healthy. One other thing that I would say, I apologize for our rudeness. You might have noticed that I was texting during our meeting, but I was texting with Councilmember Rich Rod, and I would like to offer a motion at this time that he be excused.
Second.
Motion was made, and seconded to excuse Alan Richrod. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
And Mayor Shave and Councilwoman Andrews, I also appreciated your comments about new council members. It reminded me that when I got on the council, we had a whole onboarding process with our clerk. And with the council's permission, I think what I'll do is try and hook up with our new finance director, city clerk, and review our onboarding process for new council members and try and get some of that built back into our processes so that we do offer the training and the support and just the welcoming environment that I enjoyed when I came on the council. And I think we can get that back up and running in short order. And we'll report back out and get some feedback on some other things that might have been helpful when people joined the council. And I also, this is a personal comment, I take to heart the public comment we got regarding what the Quinaults want to do in our community. But I guess I would also say that I think every question or concern that was raised in that letter, if you're to go back and look at the presentation the Quinaults made to us, I'm just stating this for the record, that in my opinion, the Quinaults have gone out of their way to address, I think, just about every question that could be out there in terms of what kind of partner they're going to be in our community to deal with this crisis that we have. And I found there, anyone who has any questions, that actually happened to be recorded. And I encourage anyone with any questions about what they're proposing to do to go watch the presentation that we enjoyed at our last meeting. And finally, regarding our wastewater treatment plant, I'm sorry that the facility is failing. Some of our newer council members, you're going to have the pleasure of having to pass through some previously adopted rate increases that you didn't get to vote on. And I would encourage you to get our city engineer and Director Sanger to give you a tour of those facilities so that you have just a real visual of the deferred, not deferred, because we have taken such good care of our plant that it has far exceeded its useful life. But now it's time to make some investments, and that's what some of these rate increases are about. And I guess that's the end of my observations for tonight. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Are there any other council members that have anything? Nathan? Oh, I see Margot too.
I'll let
Nathan
Margot
can
go
go
ahead.
first.
I'll let you go first, Margot.
Oh, well, my question is, let's review what our next meeting is and what time, please.
Our next council meeting,
Next time this group of people will be meeting.
November 24th. I think we moved it ahead till Tuesday, November 24th.
But we have a workshop, Mayor.
But yeah, we have workshop, and that
Oh,
is
on the 18th.
two of them, isn't it?
Isn't there two?
With 17th is our workshop.
17th and
17th and
18th are
18th.
budget workshops.
It's 6:30 and they start at 6:30.
6:30. Thank you.
Yep.
Just
So-
a gentle reminder.
You know what, maybe we can do, appreciate that, because that actually fell through the cracks after our last meeting. I meant to really quickly just bullet for everyone what our new schedule was. So thank you for the question, Councilmember Short. We'll follow up and make sure that everybody's got a quick handy reference, and we'll make sure it's on the website.
Thank you.
Thank you. 6:30, 17th and 6:30 on the 18th, budget workshops. And then the next council meeting is November 24th, which is a Tuesday also. Okay. Anybody else? Nathan, did you have something else?
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to thank our council president, Deanne Shaw, for the comments about the person that made the public comments and pointing out that, yes, a lot of those questions were answered in our in the presentation that was made, and not everybody can get to those, so I'm really happy that was recorded and is available to everybody. So maybe we can make it a little bit more visible so that anybody that does have further questions can find it easier and get those answered, and also know who to contact within the Quinault Nation to get further information about the program they're bringing into our community, because I think that program is going to be really successful and really help a lot of people in our community.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Frank?
Yes, I think it's time we had a good evening, so I'm going to make a motion to shut down.
That was a motion to adjourn.
I will second that.
Motion was made and seconded
It's
to
okay.
adjourn this meeting. Unless there's any objection, I will adjourn this meeting. Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you. Stay healthy.
Night.